Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to day 4 of my Sale-A-Bration 2020 sneak peeks. I can see you guys all coming on. I'm just going to give it a few more seconds. So while everybody's coming on, let me just review what I've done for day 1, 2, and 3 so far. And if you missed it, you can always scroll down, and my videos are always on my Facebook page so you guys can see them. So day 1 was all about the kerchief card kit, and you can see here that there's I believe there's 4 of each card in this kit. So on day 1 I did some alternative projects, but if you do the kits exactly like the instructions, this is what you get for the cards. So this is one of the items you can get during Sale-A-Bration, which starts on January 3rd. With a $50 order, you can earn this for free. Hi everyone, I can see you all coming on. So I'm just coming off of 2 paper pumpkin videos. So this is my 3rd video for tonight. So if you missed the other 2, you're welcome to go back and look at them. Now, day number 2, I featured the little ladybug stamp set, which is a host stamp set that you can earn for free when you do a party, a workshop, or place your own order. Let me show you the cards that we made on day 2. I made this one that had the little fringe grass on the bottom. Really cute. I colored with blend markers. This was another card, and I did some embossing on the sentiment and just a little bit of coloring. This was card number 3. We've got some of the new sequins, some of the new all dressed up designer paper. I love this little Hey Lady sentiment. And then this is a card that I made for a demonstrators, oh shoots, I can't remember the name of it, the dream team that I'm on. We do tutorials for our customers and our team, and this is the card that I made for our first month. So there's 4 cards using the little ladybug, and I know I'm going to be using this again because it's such a cute set. And then last night I went over with you about joining the Stampin' Up family and receiving the mini trimmer, this package of beautiful paper, and then you get to choose an additional stamp set of your choice too. So tonight is day 4, and I'm actually featuring the lovely Lillie pad tonight, along with, oops, I just lost a die, the Lillie pad dies. Now this one, the best way to earn this for free is to come up with a $150 order. You get the stamp set for free for the $50 part, and then you get the dies for free with the $100 portion. So a $150 order will get you both items for free, and then you'll also get your hostess rewards on top of that for reaching $150. And this only starts on January 3rd. I'm trying to find the die that went on the floor. I hope I won't need it. We'll see when we get there. Now I wanted to show you a card that I made using this stamp set for my Friday Folds class last week. It's a side flap fold card. I used the designer paper that coordinates, and then this is just a flap that I glued on, and then I used the stamp set. Really cute card. So let's get started. So because I cannot show you the inside of the catalog until January 3rd, I'm actually creating 3 cards from the catalog. And this is the first one. Isn't that pretty? It's got the corrugated embossing folder. I've got some sparkle glimmer paper. I'm going to show you how to color. Now there is a lot of die cutting in here, so I did that ahead of time to save on time. I'm going to be using the Flirty Flamingo and Grapefruit Grove inks for this one. I need an aqua painter. This is the corrugated embossing folder, which I've already gone ahead and done. So for cardstock, I'm using Crumb Cake 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that on the score line. Now, one little tip about the corrugated, you can see here how deep the embossing is. So when you guys, if you guys have this and you're going to use it, Make sure when you decide what size your cardstock's going to be that you add 1/4 inch on the vertical side of it, because it shrinks it so bad that you lose some of the length when you actually emboss it. Now this one, so I started this one out by cutting it at 5 1/4 by 3 3/4, and when I did the embossing, I ended up with 5 inches. So I lost 1/4 inch there. A strip of Whisper White, it's long, I'm going to cut it, but it is 5/8 of an inch wide. And then look at all the die cuts we needed. So we've got the large flower, I've got 2 with the Grapefruit Grove, 1 with Blushing Bride. The smaller flower, 1 with the Blushing Bride and 1 with the Grapefruit Grove. The large stem, we need 5 Old Olive. And the small leaf, I needed 5 of the Soft Seafoam. And then here is the we used to call it Dazzling Diamonds, the Sparkle Glimmer Paper. And I'm going to show you how to color that because we need to let this dry a little bit. Now I'm going to grab a mat. So this is white to begin with, and I wanted to add color to it, so that's where Flirty Flamingo comes in. Just going to squeeze the lid. That's going to allow us to get ink in the lid. The Aqua Painter, we're just going to swish that in the ink, and then you're just going to color. And the thing is, it still sparkles when you add color to it. It's so pretty. So we're going to do that to all 5 of these flowers. And I'm hoping they're going to be dry by the time I start assembling the card. So you can do this with any color. It is going to dry a little bit lighter than what you see. You can see this one here is starting to dry a little bit lighter. And if you, I'm not even pressing on my Aqua Painter, but if you see that it's a little dry as you're putting it on, you can give it a little squeeze just to get some water in there. Okay. See how pretty that is? And very easy. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment. Now, we do not have sentiments with this stamp set, so I am using the Healing Hugs, and I'm using Sending You Healing Vibes. Grapefruit Grove ink. Let's see if we can get it straight the first time. I did, but then I knocked off the G, so let's try that again. I need to go a little higher. Oh, good enough. You know, I have a camera sitting right in front of my face, so I'll use that for an excuse. Next, I'm going to trim the ends into a banner. I'm going to cut most of it off, about halfway. And like I said, I'm hoping that the sparkle paper will end up drying enough. Now, because this is so bumpy, I usually use liquid glue to glue this on. Just reminds me of the cardboard boxes. That's going to go on the front. Okay, so now let's see if we can, I'm going to go ahead and glue the sentiment in place first. So I see most of you guys have followed me all through all 3 videos. That's my marathon for today. I've never done 3 videos in one day. It's going to go right there. Okay, now let's see. I think we can glue this down. I'll flip them over. And then I'll add some liquid glue. And I think you could color these flowers with any color, even the dark, like navy would be pretty. I'm just gonna stick those at the top, add one in the center, and then the two little ones. So if you guys have your catalogs, you'll see that this card is actually in the catalog. Now, I got sticky stuff all over me. We're going to glue these in place, and I'm going to have to cut the stems a little. I think I can sneak this one in. I should have glued these on first. I don't think I added the glue in the right place. It's not hitting the corrugated part. So this is kind of fun. It's just like a big puzzle. Again, I'm going to have to remove this one and put this on first. I wasn't thinking. Now let's snip this one right here. And I know I talked about this last night. When you guys don't know where to start, when you get a new stamp set, a new catalog, open up your catalog and start copying some of the projects in there. Stampin' Up comes up with some great samples for us to go by. And you can just change up some of the items that are on the card even. This reminds me of a little mustache, don't you think? You know those little props that you can put in front of your face when you're taking photos? They remind me of little mustaches. Okay, there's that part. Now we're going to glue all of the die cuts. I should have dug out my sponge, but that's okay. And what's funny about these flowers, they're not the same size as the ones you cut below, but look how pretty that is when they're layered. Okay, those are the two Grapefruit Grove. This one is Blushing Bride. And you know what I'm gonna have to do? Let me see if I can get a scrap. Only because my fingers are starting to get sticky, and I'm just going to press down to make sure that these are all staying in place. Nope, see, look. Didn't like that one. Now we've got the two little ones. Again, this one is Blushing Bride. Grapefruit Grove. That's a lot of pieces. And then all we have left to do is to glue all 5 of these little stems. So I'm going to put, whoops. See, I told you my fingers are so sticky right now. And these are going to go right on the bottom. Now what I would do when I'm done is add something on top, and then I'm going to add a punch for weight just to press everything down so that nothing comes apart. Isn't this crazy, all these die cuts? I'm trying to slide that one underneath. There we go. There's card number 1. What do you think of that? Look at the sparkle under those die cuts. Really neat. So again, what I would do is probably put this right here, and then I would put a punch on top like that just to let it sit so that the weight will keep the die cuts down. Okay, let me get set up for card number 2. Now card number 2, we're going to have a little bit of embossing. So I got my white embossing powder, Versamark, and the embossing buddy. Again, this one is also from the catalog. Before I show it to you, let me see if I can show you all of the items I'm using. So I'm using the aqua painter. I'm using the largest die from the Stitched Nested Labels dies. I've gone ahead and cut one with Sahara Sand. For ink colors, Sahara Sand, Soft Seafoam, and Mossy Meadow. I'm also using the Frosted and Clear Epoxy Droplets. I'm using the frosted ones today. A scrap piece of Grapefruit Grove, a scrap piece of white, and then my card base is Soft Seafoam 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. So let me go ahead, press on the score line. Now the first thing I'm going to do is bring in Sahara Sand and Soft Seafoam. And I'm using this little squiggly image. It's this one right here. We're going to do color on color. And let me show you the card. I forgot to do that. This is the card. Again, one of the samples from the catalog. And all I did was add some lines with this image, just randomly on each side. And you can even flip the stamp image around if you want to. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do on the card base. Now let me get my chamois. I'm going to do the same thing to the stitched nested label die. I'm just going to randomly add these here and there. Okay, that's it on that. So let me put these, actually I'm going to need this one. Again, we have no sentiment in this stamp set, so I'm going to be using Sending You Thoughts, which is another Sale-A-Bration item you can earn for free. And I'm actually using In Loving Thoughts, If Loving Thoughts Could Heal. And you can see here that I cut it all up. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. And all I did, where's my scissors? I went as close to the image or the sentiment as I could. And just cut little rectangles. So there's the first one. This one's going to be a little bit bigger. Oops, that's a little crooked. And then the third one, actually that one is really close to the edge, so I'm going to stamp that one again. I remember I had to do that. And this one is the word thoughts. Okay, so there's the 3 words we're going to need. Now we have a little bit of work to do. All of the images that you see, I'm just trying to pick everything up here so I can have room to work. All of the images that you see here are actually white embossed, but we're actually going to stamp first. Now what is great about this stamp set, I gotta make sure, okay, I didn't have this one out. So we're going to use all of these images, and I'm gonna show you a really neat way to use these. So normally you would stamp with this side, but what I'm gonna do is actually flip it over. This is the smooth side. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. This is the Mossy Meadow ink. And it's going to make a big blob, and it's too dark. I don't like how dark it is, so I opted to do twice so I get the lighter side. I'm going to do the same thing with this image. I'm going to flip it over to the smooth side. Stamp once, stamp twice. Here's the third one. Stamp once, stamp twice. And then we're going to do the same thing with this. Flip it over to the smooth side. but this time use the soft sea foam. This one is okay, full strength. And then we're going to do 2 of the larger one. So we got a lot going on here. Now I'm going to actually take my embossing buddy and we need to actually clean off all of these stamps because now we need to flip them over to the right side and stamp with them. And I can't remember what they call these. Reversible, I'm not sure. There's a word for these. One more. I gotta dry that one, it's sliding. Okay, now here comes the Versamark ink. So now we have the detail side. We're going to ink with Versamark. That's going to fit right over the image. Let me get my embossing powder ready. And I'm going to show you. I'm just going to do one right now and show you what it looks like. Now see how that's stamped right over the image? Isn't that neat? Now here's the little one. And let's do 2 of these. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the little one also. Whoops, that one's upside down. And then all we have to do is heat these up to melt the embossing powder. Okay, now you can see all the detail in those also. And lastly is the large flower. Now the large flower to me does not fit perfectly, and I'll show you what I did to it after I did the embossing. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the heat tool. I'm going to make a little bit of noise just for a little while. So all we have to do is melt all of the powder. And you're going to see how the white pops when it starts melting. There we go. You see how nice and bright it's getting? And then all we have to do, I'm going to have to cut these all out. I should have probably got some of these ready ahead of time. But they don't take that long to cut out anyway. And I know some of you guys like to see it when I use the die cutting machine. One more. Okay, now let me get my dies first of all. I hope that one of these was not one that I dropped on the floor. And of course it is. I do not know where it went. I got it. I found it. Okay, let me get my die cutting machine. And of course it went all the way behind my counter. Now let me go ahead. We're going to cut all 6 of these pieces. We just got to find the right direction for this one. Right there. And let me get some washi tape. Now this is the card that's going to take the longest out of the 3 tonight, only because I had to do some embossing. But it's really neat how you can reverse the stamps like I did to color the background. Let me see, I'm hoping I can cut these all at the same time. I'm going to do these 4 and then I'll come back and do the other 2. Just hope nothing moves. Okay, so there's 4. Just gonna cut 2 more. I'm gonna find my tiny one. There it is. Okay, one more time. Okay, now, I told you the big flower does not line up correctly. I'll show you a card that I did. I got it to line up better. There's still a little bit of white there. This is a swap that I did. So how I fixed this is I brought in my aqua painter along with my Mossy Meadow ink pad. I'm going to squeeze that so I can get some ink. Because I didn't like the way that looked. So I just colored it again. And look, that fixes it. You can't even tell that I did that. And then I didn't cut this one very well, so I'm going to do the same thing. This is a boo-boo on my part. I should have stopped. It did move a little bit on me. Okay, so now let's go ahead and assemble all of the parts. So this is going to be glued in place with dimensionals. So thanks for hanging in there on this card. It's very, a little bit long to create only because you got the heat embossing. But to me, heat embossing is always a magic anyway. Okay, so this is going to be centered. And then we're going to glue these 3 pieces down flat. So one's going to go right here, one up top, and the little tiny one's going to go on the bottom. And then these are going to be glued with Stampin' Dimensionals. And this large flower is going to go right here. The middle flower goes at the top. And I'm probably going to redo this flower only because I'm off a little bit. And I just noticed that I should have added just a little bit of ink to this one also. There we go. I fixed that too. So lastly, we've got the 3 sentiments that we need to glue down. And I'm actually going to use the little snips, my snips, to cut off the ends of my dimensionals. Because you know that we don't waste anything, right? And I need one more piece. That just fits right there perfectly, doesn't it? So this is going to go right here, tucked in a little bit. The word thoughts. So if loving thoughts could heal. And then we need to add a little bit of bling. So I'm going to use the frosted ones. I'm going to add one right to the flower, one at the top, and then one right here. Whoops. There we go. So there's card number 2, and I am going to redo this flower. I don't like that flower. My die must have shifted on me. So there's card number 2, and we've got one more to go. So let me go ahead and get set up for that one. Now for this one, I am using the Lillie Impressions designer paper that is also a Sale-A-Bration item you can earn for free. I just wanted to show you some of the patterns. These are so bold and vivid. I've used quite a bit of it already. Let's see. Look how pretty. I think most of these are upside down. Look how pretty these flowers are. That's the same sheet. This one with the back. Somebody said this looked like Monet paintings. I agree. This one. And then the last one. So nice. So this is another item you can earn for free starting January 3rd with a $50 order. So now let's go. I'm going to go ahead and show you card number 3, which is this one. Look at the height of my flower. I did a lot of fussy cutting, die cutting. I'm going to use the classic label punch. And again, because we didn't have any sentiments with the stamp set, I'm using the Itty Bitty Greetings and Hope You're Feeling Better. So I've gone ahead and pre-cut all of my layers. Highland Heather 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Flirty Flamingo is next, 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to glue that to the front. And then we've got the designer paper, 5 inches by 3 3/4. So I've got 3 layers. And now we're going to go ahead and stamp some flowers. Let me see if I can get them all cleaned up. And Mango Melody ink on Mango Melody cardstock. I'm actually going to do 4 flowers. And this is the large one. One of the small one. And then I'm going to bring in some mint macaron. And I'm just going to do one of those. Now I do have to bring the Big Shot in one more time. I can't believe I can find my dies. You should see the mess I've got going on here. Whoops. Okay, now we're going to cut out all of these flowers. And I'm not actually going to use them all. I'm actually going to use some of the petals because you saw the height that I had with my flower. Okay, so there's 2 of the flowers. So again, this is going to be the worst part only because I have just 1 die. Okay, 2 more with this color, and then I'll have 1 more with the mint macaron. And again, I could have cut these ahead of time, but I didn't. Okay, 1 more. Okay, let's put this away. Now let's bring the card back in. And what I also did is I've gone ahead and cut out the die that comes with this set. That's this one right here. And Some of you saw me last night. You can actually make this as long as or as short as you want. I didn't go all the way with it. So I'm actually going to cut 2 of these off. And I'm just going to add glue to the center. And that's going to go about, let's see, right there. So now let me bring all of these pieces in and I'm going to see what I'm going to do with them. Here's the little flower. I'm going to tuck that in right there. Now I'm going to start assembling my flower. So what I did is I took 2 full flowers. I used my bone folder and I just curled the edges. Same thing with the second one. Okay, and I'm going to glue the first one flat. And I am overlapping the little flower just a tad. Now, I shouldn't have curled this one. I just remembered. I have to see what I did. I thought I added 2 there, but I did not. I think what I did is I snipped just the bottom pieces and then I curled. And I might not use all 4 of these. I just cut what I thought I would need. So on this one, I'm going to add dimensionals. And you can play with this and add as much height as you want. I might not even be doing it the same way that I did the first one. So now I need to, again, I'm going to cut off some of these petals. I want to make the flower a little smaller each time. I'm going to cut off the ones that are on the back side. And again, I'm just going to curl the 2 outside layers. I'm going to use 1 dimensional on this one. So there's 3 of the 3 heights so far. And then for the last one, all I did was cut this little center petal out. And of course, 1 more dimensional. Now we can't have a flower without leaves. So that's what this is for. So what I did here is I just kind of cut this apart and made some clusters, groups of 2. Let's see, we'll use this one. So there's 3. I'm going to start tucking these in. So this one can go right under here. One more right there. See how easy it is? You just tuck and glue. You can't even tell that these were just leaves that I cut apart. Okay, we need 1 more. I'm just going to do a single leaf on this one. Here's my last one. That one's going to go right here. And then all we've got left to do is to add the sentiment. Now, let me see. There's my white. And I'm going to bring in Highland Heather. Is this the right one? Yes. Hope you're feeling better. And this just barely fits in the classic label punch. And let's see, again, I'm going to use just a little snip on the edge of my dimensionals. I have some mini ones somewhere, but my counter right now is a total disaster after doing 3 videos. Okay, and that's going to go right there. And lastly, if I can find my bling, yes, right here. This is some new bling. It's called Champagne Rhinestones. I love the color. And let me see. All I'm going to do is add the little ones. There's 2 sizes. Right in the center along this little cute little border strip. And there is card number 3. So let me go ahead and move all of this aside so I can bring all the cards back in case you tuned in late. So here's the card I just made. And then this was card number 2. And then this was my first card. So there you go. There's an introduction to the lovely Lillie pad stamp set and dies that you can earn for free starting on January 3rd. I hope you enjoyed all of my projects tonight. And let's see. Tomorrow night I won't be on with a Sale-A-Bration sneak peek because I'm stamping with my team tomorrow night. I'm actually going to be showing them how to create this Valentine's box with cards on the inside. So I will be back with my Sale-A-Bration sneak peeks on Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern time. Hope to see you then, everyone. Have a good night.